The most important meal of the day, second breakfast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Second Breakfast podcast. I'm Andy Roth alongside Phil Duvall. Say hi, Phil.
Hi, Andy. Andy, you know what? But it's not you I'm saying hi to. Hi, Second Breakfast Nation. I want you all to know that, first of all, we have a lot of new viewers and listeners.
Yes.
In my mind. And we're going to do something that some of you have never heard of today. Mm-hmm. And I just want you to know that I'm on edge about it.
Okay.
I just want you to be clear. Yeah. I'm on edge.
Yeah. Before we get there, I gotta tell you a story.
I'm on edge.
Hopefully, this will take you off the edge.
Okay.
So, we're mostly movies. We're mostly movies on this podcast. We do a little TV. We do a little TV every now and then. And I want to draw an allusion to a TV show that I know Phil and I both love. And if you're a right-thinking American, you love it as well, or not American. If you should like this show.
I hope you're just about to say "Clear Eyes, Full Hearts Can't Lose."
But... I'm not, but
okay.
But that too.
Okay.
So my girlfriend is out of town, and in both his stand-up and his show Louie. There's an episode where he's divorced, but it's his kids. It's like that force of nothing but love in your life, right? His kids are away for the weekend with his ex-wife. I think he normally has them for the weekends. And like 7 minutes after they're out the door, he has like fallen to like subhuman levels of like slovenliness. Do you remember this?
Yes. Sadness, loneliness.
Yes.
Just deep.
My girlfriend left earlier today. And I did not plan this, but this is how it happened. I may have just had for dinner, like a lot, like a dinner-sized portion of pork rinds. That may have happened. All right?
Oh, wow.
Because here's the deal. I can't, like, eat my feelings with ice cream because that has carbs in it. And for those who don't know, I'm doing a low-carb thing. I'm doing basically paleo. I can't have candy or chocolate or ice cream or something like that. Pork rinds have no carbs. And yet they make me hate myself. It's that there's a picture of it online because it's a line from one of his stand-up routines. The meal is not over when I'm full. The meal is over when I hate myself. And
when I hate myself. You are the second person in 2 days to quote that specific line to me, by the way. Not kidding.
I believe
the second person in 2 days. The meal's not over when I'm full. The meal's over when I hate myself.
So, with that, Phil and Second Breakfast Nation, thank you for existing so that I can get my mind off the horrifying scene going on in my stomach. My stomach is going to sue me for divorce. Like, you have misused me. I am leaving.
Let me speak on behalf of Second Breakfast Nation when I say, Andy, we're here for you.
I appreciate that. I do.
So that's just the thing that we do, is we look out for you. Andy, I have a question for you before we start the thing.
What's that?
How did you think Russell Crowe did in Noah? Not even talking about the whole movie. I want to know what you think about Russell Crowe in Noah.
There is only one word to describe his performance for me. And I mean this in literally every way one can mean this word.
So excited for whatever you're going to say.
Biblical.
Wow, well done.
Thanks.
I love it.
I figured you might. Is
it fair to say that an Oscar-winning actor who has been nominated more than once, is it fair to call him underrated?
Yeah.
I think that he has this really weird reputation.
Yep.
Where he's, for some reason, a guy that people like to make fun of. And someone said to me like the other day, like I mentioned him in that. And out of nowhere.
Sure.
We were talking about Noah. I was talking to another priest. I was like, man, Russell Crowe was amazing in Noah. And he was like, God, he sure sucked in Les Mis. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I actually kind of don't agree with that, but that's a whole... I recognize that even if that is considered a black mark on his, or whatever you want to call it, a blemish on his filmography.
Yep.
I was like, let's be clear that the movie wasn't that good, first of all.
Yep.
And then let's be clear that, maybe he was miscast, and there's no such thing as that. I was like, okay, whatever.
There's no such thing as miscast.
I don't want to get into this.
Okay.
I don't want to get into that. All I'm saying is, he's a guy that for some reason people feel really comfortable dismissing or making fun of. And he is, for me, hands down one of the best actors of this generation.
Yeah.
Hands down one of my personal favorites to watch. And if you want someone to be super intense, but in a way that is like consistently, like he's not just one kind of intense, right?
Yes, that's right.
Like I mean, one of my favorite TV shows on right now is called The Goldbergs.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a character who the entire time like just sort of is yelling and like talking like this. I love it. I love him so much, but it's like this weird testament to how much I love him that he can manage to do that. My point is that's not Russell Crowe.
Right, yes. That's
Finds intensity in all different kinds of humanity.
Yep.
It's perfectly cast as Noah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's all. We don't need to talk about the movie today, although if anybody wants us to.
Don't be shy. You know what you should do? You should let us know on Facebook, Second Breakfast Podcast. You should email us at secondbreakfastpodcast@gmail.com. Or you should follow us on Twitter at Second Breakfast. Here's what it is. It's at 2NDBKFST. We're lonely over there.
I'd also like to point, well, for now, it's going to be, you know what, Andy? You know why we're lonely over there? It's lonely at the top. But I'll tell you something else.
Well played.
You bring up a good point, which is people can't email at us at secondbreakfastpodcast@gmail, and I want them to know that is all words, second, the full word, breakfast, the full word, podcast. No dots, no spaces, except for the requisite .com. SECONDBREAKFASTPODCAST at gmail.com. I want a spelling bee once.
I feel like I'm drunk. You want a spelling bee once? So did I.
Twice, actually, but that's a whole other. Let's not.
Oh my god. You right now you are Woody Harrelson in Zombieland, where he's like, do you always have to one up people? And he's like, oh no, I know somebody way worse at that than me.
I'm not even offended by that. like you had me at Woody Harrelson. I don't even feel bad.
That's fair.
I'll be Woody Harrelson in any movie you want. Let's be honest.
Or HBO show, hypothetically.
Well, yeah, and maybe White Men Can't Jump. No big deal.
No big deal. Folks, today,
oh my gosh, can we talk about the Gauntlet?
Yes, let's. We should probably get to the point of this podcast. So yes, let's talk about it.
Probably. Okay, so I have a friend. True story. Don't back out. Don't check out from this. I have a friend. Okay, Andy and I, when we used to do the show every other minute, we did mailbags every single week. I miss our mailbags, to be honest with you. It was a popular segment on the old Second Breakfast Podcast. And one day, one of our friends wrote us what he considered to be a mailbag question, except it was like 7 questions with multiple choice answers for each one.
Yes.
And it was stuff like, name the best Kubrick movie, The Shining, 2001, or Clockwork Orange. So, by the way, he's not even giving us all the options.
Right.
He's like, you can only pick one of these 3. Name it. And there were so many of them, and Andy and I decided to do them all at once, but we realized this wasn't just a simple mailbag question. It was as if this friend of mine, Mr. Joshua Edwards, had thrown down a gauntlet in front of us. And would we run the gauntlet? And the answer, people... Yeah. I don't even know why you'd have to ask. Of course we would run the gauntlet.
That's right. We did for a time, and I like to throw it in every now and then, but I don't think it's necessary any longer. We would even say it differently. We'd say the gauntlet.
The gauntlet. We've moved beyond that. We don't have to say it like that every time, but just know that I'm feeling that every time.
Yes.
When I say gauntlet, what I really mean is gauntlet.
Yep. Indeed.
So we've got one today.
We've got one today, given to us by our good friend of the podcast and one-time co-host, Damon Tomlin, a good friend of mine and someone who tolerates Phil.
Can I say something?
What's that?
This is going to be really bad, what I'm about to say.
Oh, boy.
Did he really co-host once?
So, folks, we have this thing called creme de la creme, which is a...
Oh, yeah.
You're the worst person I know.
Which one was he on? Was it when we did Alien?
Yes, where we have somebody on and they pick the movie that we discuss. And he did a twofer. He did the first 2 movies in the Alien franchise, Alien and Aliens, and it was a lovely conversation. It was really good. Really a lot of fun.
I'm gonna go back and listen to that podcast again.
You should too, folks.
As should the rest of you.
That's
yes.
right.
Do you see what I did there?
That's right.
That's called cross branding.
Unlike my co-host, I actually remember this episode, and
I've literally
zibbity-bip. I actually remember this episode, and I might go back and listen to it myself because it's just that good. But that's neither here nor there. We may not be able to, Phil. We may not be able to go back and listen to this episode because this gauntlet he has concocted might take us down. It might kill us. So
the reason I'm on edge is every time we do a gauntlet, I have to yell because.
Oh my god! That sound is the sound of the entire Second Breakfast Nation leaving us to die alone.
The reason that I'm on edge is that y'all will see. This is a cruel mistress. This gauntlet.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
It takes a piece out of you to make these decisions. I know you guys are like, it's just questions. It's just a joke. It's just a lark. But like, you try deciding like what to get rid of, or you'll see. You know what? You'll see.
Here we go. Shall we?
You literally kill people in this gauntlet.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
With our minds, like mind bullets. That's telekinesis, Kyle. It's not. You're welcome.
True. Hey. No, thank you. All right, here we go. Part 1, beginning of Damon Tomlin's Gauntlet. Part 1. Warm up. Number 1. Best 90s movie we grew up with that takes place underwater.
It doesn't say 90s movie on my thing. It just says best movie that we grew up with.
I don't know what to tell you, Phil. I mean, I'm looking at it. I can...
Oh no, I'm looking at the PDF he sent. Is it wrong?
Phil, I'm going to take care of you, okay? I'm going to take care of you.
Because he did 2 different versions, remember?
Yes.
Oh, I hope I have the right thing.
Oh, I hope I have the right thing, too. Okay. Let's just go through this first question, shall we? Is that okay, Puddin'?
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm nervous now.
Best movie, 90s or otherwise, that we grew up with that takes place underwater. A. The Hunt for Red October. B. Crimson Tide. C. The Abyss.
This was harder for me than I'd like to admit.
Interesting.
Oh, that's what Damon looks like. I remember him. What an adorable man. All right.
Seriously,
Damon,
the single worst person I know.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm sorry. You're using the original version. You need to switch over to the updated. But this first question is still the same. Here we go. Here we go.
I'm switching now.
I would say I think by definition the quote unquote best of these movies is probably The Abyss.
Okay.
But I'm picking Hunt for Red October.
Okay.
There are things about Hunt for Red October that are interestingly like a Russian submarine captain with a Scottish accent, for instance.
It's true. That's right.
It doesn't matter. Hunt for Red October is pure magic. The Abyss is one of the most, in my mind, and I haven't seen it in a really long time as part of the problem, but it's a majestic, grand, epic, frightening, beautiful movie.
Yeah.
Filled with really good performances.
Yep.
But The Hunt for Red October has Sean Connery and Alec Baldwin. Hunt for Red, and I have to admit, he mentions movies that we grew up with. Of the 3, this Hunt for Red October is the one that had the biggest impact on me growing up.
Okay.
Crimson Tide came out when you and I were like either freshmen or sophomores.
Okay.
I was already a terrible person by then. The Abyss I didn't see in the theater. I saw it later on.
Okay.
But Hunt for Red October, Dad and I went to the movie theater and saw The Hunt for Red October and went into the photo booth beforehand and took pictures together in the photo booth, my dad and I.
Nice.
Hunt for Red October. Hunt for Red October.
I want it just on the record. It's implicit for those who are listening to us, and it's you will have seen it already if you're watching us on YouTube. But I just wanted explicit and on the record that I exhibited no surprise when you were like, I was already a terrible person. I'm just throwing it out there. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Damon, seriously, I'm sorry that he totally forgot you. It's because he's deficient as a human being. Okay.
I love you.
You know what? I love you too, but I'm upset. I'm upset with you, as should Damon be. So I agree with everything you've said. The reason, first off, I want to throw some love Crimson Tide's way. It was never going to be the answer to this question.
Never, ever.
Not ever. Having said that, there's no way for this not to sound like an insult, and I really don't mean it this way. It is a completely and totally serviceable action movie.
Here, let me say it in a different way and I think I'll be saying the same thing, but it'll sound nicer. Okay. You tell me, okay?
Okay, all right.
That being said, if Crimson Tide's on television, I'm a-watching.
Oh. Yeah. Yes.
I'm
absolutely.
A-watching.
Yes. I'm a watch it too. I'm gonna go with The Abyss, and the reason is I know. It is a tough call.
Andy, I'm not angry with you.
I appreciate that, and if folks, I feel like if we answer this question again in 30 seconds, Phil might go with The Abyss, and I might go with Hunt for Red October. But it's been kind of forgotten. It's James Cameron's forgotten movie,
yes.
And the fact is, this dude is not, in all likelihood, a particularly wonderful man, although I don't really care. But he just seems like kind of a jerk. I'm the king of the world. But he has made either the two biggest movies of all time or two of the top three.
No, two. The two biggest, the two most highest.
I wasn't sure if the Avengers had passed Titanic. I guess it hadn't. He made the two good Terminator movies. He made True Lies one of the definitive action movies of the 1990s, or indeed of all time.
Yep.
It's unfortunate stereotypes aside. I'm just saying.
It's of its time. It's of its time.
You're right. I mean, you're right. So was Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's, but come on.
No, that's never okay. Do not compare. At least he actually cast Middle Easterners to play Middle Easterners.
I mean,
okay.
You make an excellent point. He
didn't cast a white guy to go like me, Reiki. Like he wasn't like just the most awful. I mean, that's essentially what happened.
Phil, I would drop the word essentially from that sentence. That's just straight up what happened.
Thank
you.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, Mickey Rooney, rest in peace. So yes. But it is everything. I love every word you use to describe it. It's epic. It's terrifying. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful movie. Beautiful. It's one of the first. It's one of the first examples of like CGI. That and frankly, Terminator 2 are two of the first examples of CGI. And you know what? For whatever you want to say, James Cameron, like Avatar was just functionally Pocahontas with like pretty visuals. But like the man knows how to use special effects the way George Lucas used to, and that's precisely what you just said. Yeah. He doesn't use them to show you something. He uses them to tell a story. And The Abyss is a gorgeous movie. Gorgeous.
Yes. And so, every performance. Yeah. Ed Harris, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, Michael Biehn, everybody in it's great. But listen, I mean,
I think it's Bean.
You're probably right. You're probably correct.
Yep.
But listen to this. The Terminator, Aliens, The Abyss, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, True Lies. Those were his, well, he made a couple movies before that, but he made those 5 movies in a row.
Yeah. That's like Rob Reiner, like late 80s, early 90s run.
That's a murderer's row of films.
Yes.
Literally, there's a lot of murderers in all
right. It's true. It's true. I think...
we need to move on.
Let's move on.
We got to move on or we're going to be doing that. This is going to be a 7-hour gauntlet if we're not careful.
Which, David, we'd love to do. But I'm on the right version now. Number 2.
Okay. I've got them right here, too.
Great. Number 2. Best Madeline Kahn performance.
This was tough for me.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Read the choices.
Real quick. Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, Clue.
Okay, so first of all, my favorite performances of hers is Clue.
Interesting. Okay.
Just because of those, let me rephrase. There was too much. Let me sum up. It's the one I quote the most.
Sure.
And it's the one that I have grown to appreciate the most over time.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
That being said, I think her Blazing Saddles performance is a definitive performance, and I believe she was nominated for an Oscar for it.
Yes.
I love her in all three of these movies. To denigrate one of them would be a mistake.
Yes.
But I would say that her part in Young Frankenstein is considerably smaller. I'm going to go with Blazing Saddles, but only just.
Over Clue.
Over Clue.
Okay.
There's no wrong answer here, though.
No.
I really believe that.
Madeline Kahn, folks, if you don't know her, she is... There are performers that have left us too early, and whenever I think about them,
goodness.
She is the first person I think of. She is one of the funniest. She is one of the funniest people in movie history. Period. Just period.
I'd like to change my answer.
Okay.
To Clue.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Duly noted. Again,
Oof.
no wrong answer.
Oof.
I am going with Blazing Saddles.
Yep.
I'm going with it not over Clue, although there is no wrong answer, and I love her. Her part, of the three, her part in Young Frankenstein is the smallest. But there is literally not a moment on screen when I am not laughing at what she is doing in Young Frankenstein. Clue, your attention is sometimes elsewhere. Blazing Saddles, your attention is sometimes elsewhere.
So
Young Frankenstein...
Totally.
I mean, I defy... Second Breakfast Nation, here's a challenge for you. Make the word, and it's not a non-funny word, it's a funny word. Make the word taffeta funnier than she makes it on the train platform in Young Frankenstein.
I'll tell you why I didn't pick Young Frankenstein.
Please.
I grew up on all three of these movies. These
Okay.
are movies that were basically all three formative to my understanding of what comedy even is, right?
Sure.
And as a child, all the scenes with Madeline Kahn and Young Frankenstein were boring. She wasn't funny to a child.
That's fair.
Like, she was annoying, and I couldn't wait till she left so I could see Terry Garr, who I was very attracted to as a child.
Sure.
I mean, I still would be. That's not the point. But I was like, ooh. And all the fun stuff of the meat of the story happens.
Yep.
And her coming back into the picture later on is a weird dynamic in the movie itself, I think, actually. Young Frankenstein. Not her fault. The last 15, 20 minutes of Young Frankenstein is always a little bit like it's working on it, okay?
Are you going to make the argument that the last bit of Blazing Saddles is perfect? Because that
oh
gets
dear
weird.
Lord, no.
Okay.
No.
You're right.
No.
Fair enough.
Although it's just a different kind of weird.
Agreed.
Her character in Blazing Saddles is hilarious and funny, but it's a character. Like, it's like putting on, in both Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein, they are outlandishly big characters.
Sure.
She gets to be the Mae West / Marlene Dietrich character.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Clue, man, it's an exercise in like twitching. It's an exercise in like moving her eye in a certain moment and just a whole body experience of a person you could totally meet in real life. And that's what I love.
I love it. I love everything you've said. I love you. I disagree with you, but I mean,
fine.
Maybe
you've come to a different choice than me.
Indeed.
Okay.
I disagree with your final decision, but
Sure.
I don't disagree with anything you've just said.
Well, then we're doing okay.
We are. Moving on. Number 3. You may own, free of monetary or criminal charges, one of the following props. They all have addendums and footnotes. A. Darth Vader's lightsaber. No, it doesn't work. Come on, it's a prop. B. The One Ring. This one similarly does not turn you invisible or evil. Or C. Indiana Jones's fedora. And the footnote to this one is, this one works fine. So.
I actually was like really kind of distraught for a little bit. And then I was like, oh, whatever. Darth Vader's lightsaber. Why are we even thinking about this? Because here's the deal. It's Darth Vader's lightsaber. Like, come on, shut up. First of all, I have a friend who has the One Ring. And I know it's not the real one. there's probably like 1,000 real ones, and that's just the nerdiest thing that ever could be.
It's true.
the nerdiest thing that ever could be.
Does he wear it on a chain around his neck, or does he actually wear it as a ring?
Does it really matter?
It is nerdier if he's wearing it around his neck. Give me that.
That's a good... No, that's true. You're right. You're right.
Just
You're
throw it
right.
out there.
You're right. You're right. Like, that's like the nerd atomic bomb explosion, right?
Yes, it's true.
I have become nerd, destroyer of sex lives. Okay. Indiana Jones' fedora is great. It's cool. I would never wear it ever. But here's the thing about Indiana Jones' fedora. Like, if I had to choose between Indiana Jones as a character and Darth Vader, I mean, I'm going with Darth Vader. Darth Vader.
I don't mean this question... This might mark me as, like, the lamest person in the world. I get that, okay?
Go ahead.
Is it weird that the reason I wouldn't choose Darth Vader's lightsaber is because he's the bad guy? Like, he's the bad guy.
I don't know what it means about you. It's just here's my rebuttal, and it's all I've got.
Yeah.
Andy, it's Darth Vader. Do you understand that Darth Vader was the bad guy of all of our growing ups? Right. That's a sentence that needs a lot of work.
A lot of work, folks. We'll fix that.
He is the bad guy of all of our childhoods, but in such a way that we were just like, we had to watch him.
I want to remind you of this. I agree with you.
Terrified me.
Yes.
Darth Vader was the bad guy, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't look away.
I want to remind you of this, though. This is a really, really intricate handle and a stick painted red.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
To which I respond, the hell am I going to do with a fedora? Honestly, I don't want any of these things, if I'm being totally honest.
That's fair. That's
fair.
Like,
no, and Damon, it's not a bad question, because I love what you're getting at, actually. Mm-hmm. But I'm not a memorabilia guy, personally.
Nor am I. This question would be a slam dunk for me if that fedora included the whip. I mean, not even...
It would have been a much tougher choice for me, my friend. It would have been a
question.
Much tougher choice for me.
I am still, even though I stand by what I said earlier, I'm going with the lightsaber. I'm gonna agree with you. I'm going with the lightsaber, and it's because even as a prop, it would just be fun as crap to like spin around in my garage like that YouTube kid, the Star Wars kid who got made fun of because he was like swinging a mop around or whatever it was. That would totally be me, and I would love every second of it. So there's that. We're done.
Yep.
I think.
Yep. Okay. I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. 4. Best Blood and Ice Cream Supporting Cast Member. Folks, the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy, also known as the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy, were 3 movies that were not trilogy in terms of one continuous story, but they were sort of spiritual cousins. And the first one was Shaun of the Dead, a comedy, a romantic comedy with zombies. Then Hot Fuzz was the second one, a comedy that was also a police action movie, buddy cop movie. And then just this past year, The World's End, a comedy that was like a science fiction apocalyptic thing going on.
Yep.
Best Blood and Ice Cream Supporting Cast Member. So not Simon Pegg or Nick Frost, the 2 leads in all 3 of the movies. A. Bill Nighy in Shaun of the Dead, who is Shaun's stepfather. B. Jim Broadbent in Hot Fuzz, who is Nick Frost's dad and the police chief captain of the small town where the movie is set. C. Martin Freeman in The World's End, one of the group of friends that goes on the pub crawl. I'd like to go first.
I wish that you would.
I'm going with Bill Nighy. Because all 3 of these guys are absolutely wonderful. They are they help make the movies as splendid and perfect as they are.
Yep.
Martin Freeman is, I mean, he comes in, he gets the bronze medal of these 3 for me just because it's far and away the smallest part of the 3. It's far and away sort of the... It's not dispensable. It isn't dispensable at all for reasons that only become clear by the end of the movie. But the other two are just so integral to the plot. And Broadbent is so good, and it's a much more layered performance than it at first appears. He first appears as basically just a buffoon, and he is not that, and it's much more well-rounded. But Bill Nighy has the only scene of any of these three characters in these movies that makes me cry. He makes me cry. And it is the scene in the car.
First of all, we know what scene it is. Come on. First of all,
I'm just saying.
His name is Philip. Win-win. Secondly,
sure,
it is my favorite of the three movies.
Sure. Me too.
Thirdly,
yes.
It is such an interesting, he's such a dreadful person.
Yes.
That you end up having nothing but love and respect for.
Yes. Yes.
And
well said.
All three of these actors are fantastic.
Oh, they're so good.
There's no downside to any of them, and there's no wrong answer here. But I also feel like while Jim Broadbent and Martin Freeman are so often, just always cast beautifully, Bill Nighy, he's always great too, but they sometimes, they kind of sometimes, turn him into a caricature.
Mm-hmm.
And not in this movie.
Yes. Yes.
He's so beautifully cast in this film.
Yes. Yes.
Love it. Love it. Andy,
yes.
You're right. You're correct. Moving
that's
on.
right.
Next question, because good call.
And that's from Good Call Duvall. Part 2. Faustian Bargains. Okay, number 5.
I'm ready.
I'm
ready
supreme.
For this.
I hope so, because this is where it gets serious. You are
it's
supreme.
It's a little mean here.
I know, right? You are
Okay.
Supreme Chancellor of the Academy for a day, and can give an Oscar either for a particular performance or a lifetime of work. I like that addendum. I like that. To one of the following actors. But tomorrow the Academy goes back under the control of Strom Thurmond, who, in retribution, promises that the other two will never win one ever. The nominees are, and the reason for Strom Thurmond being in control of the Academy will become clear in a moment. A. Don Cheadle. B. Danny Glover. C. Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay, a couple things. Really? We got to take cheap shots at a dead guy like Strom Thurmond? Is he really the most racist guy of all time? Come on.
If we're going to take cheap shots at the dead guy, it might as well be Strom Thurmond. Let me just throw that out there.
Whatever. He's not, okay. Please don't hear that I like Strom Thurmond from this, because it's not a thing that I feel. Liking him is not a part of my life. So please don't hear what I'm not saying.
Tomorrow's top headline on People.com. Philip Duvall hates black people.
Well, don't hear what I'm not saying. Okay? Let's not hear what I'm not saying.
Sure.
Let's do that.
Yes.
Okay, here's the deal. I just think Donald Sterling would have been a more interesting choice.
This was written before.
It was. This Gauntlet was written 7 years ago. Okay. Don Cheadle, B. Danny Glover, C. Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
The answer is Samuel L. Jackson, and it's Samuel L. Jackson with there's just for me no question. Now I want to say that I love me some Don Cheadle.
Sure.
And that I respect. I love performances of Danny Glover's, a couple of them.
Sure.
Namely, all the ones where he plays a guy named Roger Murtaugh, and that's actually about all.
Right.
I think Donnie Cheadle might end up doing some great. He's already done some great work, and I think that he's not done doing great work.
Right.
But, ladies and gentlemen, Samuel L. Jackson is one of the most important actors of our time. Notice I use the word important. He doesn't always play the character that's going to get him a nomination, but he will be remembered as one of the consummate entertainers of our time. He will be remembered for that when the time comes for him to die and people to remember.
I was all set to disagree with you. I was all set to be like, oh my god, okay, I love me some Samuel L. too. But come on, Don Cheadle is amazing. And it's not that I don't think that Don Cheadle is still amazing, but you know what the performance that makes me shift in my head and agree with you is Django
Please.
Unchained.
Yes.
That is such to use your word. That is an important performance. It is an important performance, and
It is.
And
You're right.
is brilliant. He's brilliant. He's brilliant in that role.
He's brilliant. He's brilliant so often in such a way that people actually just sort of move on from it.
Yes.
I mean, his performance in Pulp Fiction, he did get nominated for. That performance is amazing.
Yeah, agreed. Yes, no question.
And I think what I don't. While I would love for Don Cheadle to win an Academy Award, I love, by the way, that we've all just agreed that it's lovely to see Danny Glover on this list. But I'm wondering, did you really think the sentimentality of Lethal Weapon was going to get us to pick him, Damon, or do you only know 3 black actors? You know what? Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
Tomorrow's top headline on People.com. Philip Duvall deflects his own racism by projecting onto somebody else.
The last thing I would ever want to do is deflect my own racism. Okay?
Nice. Well played.
It's deep-seated, and I'm a horrible person.
Yeah.
I kissed a black girl once in college. No, we're not.
I have plenty of friends who are black. Just go.
I know, really? It's true.
Just go.
Okay, so here's the deal. Regardless of my racism, I really do believe, I mean, you mentioned a single performance. I think it's like when you think about the idea that at the end of his life, he never got some kind of recognition, and you look at those 3 names, that's kind of one of the ways to look at it.
Sure.
I just feel like Samuel L. Jackson will have had such a large impact on American film culture that I'd love that for Don Cheadle, but just based on what we've got so far,
he doesn't quite measure up to the impact.
Samuel L. It's Samuel L.
Right. You're right. All right, this next one needs a little preamble because I believe the point is that the first one of these people that in each pair that I list is good, and the second one is bad.
Oh no, it very clearly means that.
Right.
It very obviously means
yes,
that.
right. But I take exception to it because I don't think it always works. So anyway,
well,
you must inhabit one of the following worlds.
He's the Gauntlet maker.
It's true. One of the following worlds must inhabit: A, one where Cate Blanchett doesn't exist, but neither does Lindsay Lohan. B, one where Laura Linney doesn't exist, but neither does Angelina Jolie. C, one where Helen Mirren doesn't exist, but neither does Rosie Perez. D, one where Susan Sarandon doesn't exist, but neither does Kristen Stewart.
So what it's doing is saying, look, the downside is you don't get this amazing actress, but the upside is this person will be gone forever.
Yes.
Why don't you tell me what your reservations are here? Or do you want me to start?
Please go. I want you to go.
How dare you besmirch Rosie Perez's good name? I know what you're thinking, Damon. First of all, also probably a little bit racist here.
I need to pause you. I do. I need to pause you. This is important. It's actually important. There is an addendum to this gauntlet that you don't know about. Phil, by mentioning, I am reading this, folks. Phil does not know about this. I am reading this verbatim. Phil, by mentioning Rosie Perez in a positive light, you have activated the choose your own adventure portion of this gauntlet. Andy temporarily has no control over what he's saying, so please don't blame him for anything you don't like. For the moment, I control the horizontal and the vertical. I will begin by saying that Rosie Perez... I'm sorry, Rosie. I will begin by saying that Rosie Perez is a blight upon our movies, our nation, and our planet. She has never given a single performance that I have believed. She is the most obnoxious of Jim Henson's reject pile of Muppets. I'm not sure how she came into this world, but I'm pretty sure Beaker is in her gene pool somewhere. Okay, that's kind of funny. Whenever she opens her mouth, the audience is reminded that her voice is an affectation, and it distracts them from whatever else is going on that's of actual consequence. I no more believe that she's a real person than I believe that Pee Wee Herman or Ace Ventura are real people. But the difference is that Pee Wee and Ace aren't supposed to be believable. They're live-action cartoon characters.
I'm so angry that I laugh. Like, I'm on the border of tears from anger.
Sure.
First of all, and I'm angry with you too, Andy. Let me tell you why. Let me tell Second Breakfast Nation why. Before we filmed this podcast, Andy goes, I said, I'm looking at the Gauntlet. And he says, can you believe that he spoke negatively about Rosie Perez? He actually said that to me.
That is not what happened. That I said, can you believe that he besmirched, and you said Rosie Perez. This is not entrapment, my friend.
But I was right. You knew that's what I was going to say.
I mean, that's true. Yes.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm not... Here's all I will say. Damon is a racist. Let me say something else, though. I am so angry right now. So
I have
angry.
not seen you this angry since we fielded the mailbag question. Why shouldn't I be able to text in movies?
Well, part of the reason I'm angry is I don't ever feel the need to champion Rosie Perez. Like I feel the need to champion certain things like Russell Crowe.
Sure.
Because he's like openly mocked for reasons that make no sense when he's an amazing actor. Or Mad Men, because it just keeps knocking it out of the park and people are too busy talking about the Games of Thrones. Okay? But what kills me, there is a movie called Fearless. And Rosie Perez is perfect in it. Perfect in it. And there is a movie called Do the Right Thing. And Rosie Perez is perfect in it. And both of those movies, one of them is incredibly important to me personally, and the other one is incredibly important to the world of movie people personally, or whatever, overwhelmingly.
Phil?
Is there another Choose Your Own Adventure caveat?
The section to go to next will be a function of Phil's response. If Phil mentions her Oscar nomination for Fearless...
I did not mention an Oscar nomination.
That's fine. I'm going to count it. I'm going to count it because it's the closest one. Go to Section A. Section A. You have selected Option A, Rosie Perez's nomination for an Oscar for his performance in the movie Fearless. Phil, I know you like Fearless. This is not me. This is Damon. I am merely the mouthpiece. Phil, I know you like Fearless, and I'm not going to claim that it is without its merits. Oh, Damon! I'm not going to claim it's not without its merits, but Rosie Perez is not one of those merits. As you have often cited, the Academy doesn't always make the right call. Sometimes it would seem they award extra points for gutsy choices and difficult roles, as in Linda Hunt's Oscar for The Year of Living Dangerously, or Dustin Hoffman's for Rain Man. Okay, I'm not saying they didn't deserve those, just that they stand out in terms of difficulty. Okay. And Rosie made some interesting choices indeed. She had to play a human being that had named her child Bubble. But a human being that also
It was a nickname!
But a human being that also managed not to drool all over herself at any time during the film, at least as far as I recall. Hers was a character so dim that she needed Jeff Bridges to endanger both of them in a life-threatening car crash in order to demonstrate a simple physics problem, yet deliver dialogue consisting of words other than duh. Basically, I think she got the Oscar nod on chutzpah alone, because I sure didn't enjoy or believe any of her time on screen.
Are there other things are there other options to mention Do the Right Thing? Do you want to pull that up too?
No.
Okay.
This is important that I say. This is the other response. Like if one he didn't think of, because you said some other things too. Section E. Congratulations, Phil. You have either made a response that I did not anticipate, or you have contented yourself with the amount of things Rosie Perez in this gauntlet, which lands you in Section E, the punt. This concludes the Choose Your Own Adventure. I am returning control of Andy back to the man himself. Can
I say a couple things? Can I say a couple things?
Phil, I wish that you would.
I'm just going to go ahead and say three things.
Sure.
3 things.
Yes.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Sure.
Okay. 1, I'm just going to go ahead and add that she was phenomenal in White Men Can't Jump. Lovely.
Phil, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that and do the right thing and Fearless, and I'm going to love it. I'm going to take it out to dinner and wine it and dine it. Yes.
2,
yes.
You're a racist, Damon. And 3, I've literally never been this angry on this show. Like, I've never been this angry. And I'm not even angry about, I mean, some of the stuff he said was just mean towards her.
Yeah.
And I'm not okay with that because I just, we should love our neighbor. And that's just a job that we should have.
Sure.
But the other thing is this, you know what? All the stuff you said about the movie Fearless, Damon, I think I know why I forgot that you were on our show.
Oh my God.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Anything you want to say, Andy? Because I'm just dead inside.
Well, folks, before the advent of the horseless carriage, this rant started with a question. It started with a Gauntlet question. And that question is, by the way, this is what I want to say before I go back to it. I am firmly on the pro Rosie Perez side of the ledger. No question. No question.
She was a Fly girl and a Laker girl. Maybe not a Laker girl. Maybe that was Jennifer Lopez. She was definitely a Fly girl on In Living Color.
Was she?
Oh, yeah.
I believe you.
I think so.
Oh, yeah, maybe. So here are the choices again. You must inhabit one of the following worlds. One where Cate Blanchett doesn't exist, but neither does Lindsay Lohan. One where Laura Linney doesn't exist, but neither does Angelina Jolie. One where Helen Mirren doesn't exist, but neither does Rosie Perez. One where Susan Sarandon doesn't exist, but neither does Kristen Stewart. You want to go? You want me to go?
Andy, why don't you go first?
So, okay, yeah. So here's my problem with B. I think Angelina Jolie, I don't want her not to exist. I think she's a talented actress, and and who else was Disney going to get to play Maleficent? That
can't be the option when she hasn't even seen it yet. And I don't mean this. I don't want to listen because I'm not a fan of deciding people don't exist. It's not a thing I do generally.
Sure.
That being said, if you were like specifically, it couldn't be B because I want Angelina Jolie. What based on what movie?
Honestly,
yeah,
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I knew you were going to say that. Is that it? Really? That's it?
So.
No, I'm just asking. I'm not.
No.
It's fine.
Agreed. I don't want any of these people.
Could you name that movie plus one more?
I did think she was good in Girl Interrupted. I did think she was good in Gia.
I haven't seen Girl Interrupted. Gia was an HBO movie, but I'll accept it as an answer. Okay, go ahead.
The one thing I thought she was terrible in, because I thought the movie was terrible, Beowulf. Not a good movie.
I just think her career is not exemplary by any means.
Okay, fair enough. But
sorry, go ahead.
But I mean, you've got Lindsay Lohan, and other than Mean Girls, which I do not want to see snuffed out of existence. That movie and Clueless are the two, in my opinion, best teen movies since the heyday of like Heathers and John Hughes and all that stuff. So I don't want to see that go away. But other than that, Herbie Goes Bananas or whatever it was. Rosie Perez and Kristen Stewart isn't the issue. I don't want to recast Bull Durham, to say nothing of Dead Man Walking. So I don't want Susan Sarandon to go away. So my answer to this question is C. Helen Mirren doesn't exist, but neither does Rosie Perez. Even though I like both of those actresses a lot, here's the deal. Helen Mirren was amazing in The Queen, okay? She does not have a huge impact on my life. She, like, what else have I seen her in? Red. Like, which is perfectly fine, and she's hilarious in it. But I haven't seen the original Prime Suspect. I haven't seen all of these movies that she's famous for. I just haven't seen them. And that's my answer, and I hate it. I hate this question. Hate! Damon!
It's a mean question. It's a mean question, followed by a really mean subsection that he created that was just about being mean. And I think the meanest part of it was really not just how mean he was in talking about Rosie Perez, who is by all accounts a lovely human being, but also that, like, he assumed that in my defense of her, I would talk about an Oscar nomination.
That's fair.
Do you even know me? It hurt a little bit, not only that he went out of his way to attack a movie that is one of the greatest movies of all time that no one ever talks about. I'll just say one of my favorite movies, that he made a point of going personal. But that he thought I would mention an Oscar nomination as the reason? Here's the deal. I'm looking at the list. There's never going to be a world in which Cate Blanchett doesn't exist.
Sure. Right. Yes.
Period. She's like Galadriel. She has always existed.
Yes.
She is. My feelings for Cate Blanchett are so complicated and so strong that I don't even mind talking about them in front of my wife. Not that she'll ever listen to this, but that's a whole other subject.
You will note, here are my feelings about Cate Blanchett that aren't actually all that complex or complicated. I didn't even mention her. It was so
you're right.
Completely
You're right.
not an option.
You're right.
I was like,
You're right.
Yeah.
For me, A and B are not options. It really comes down to Helen Mirren and Rosie Perez, Susan Sarandon and Kristen Stewart.
Yep. Can I say one last thing, just very quickly, about Kristen Stewart, who I am not... I have not seen Adventureland, which might mark me as not a good film nerd, whatever.
Go ahead, you're fine.
I have not been impressed with her, and I have seen her in things other than the Twilight movies, and I haven't seen most of the Twilight movies. But I just saw Into the Wild, and she has one or two scenes in that movie, but she makes an impact, and she is wonderful in that movie. And so that was another thing. Honestly, she's the same as Lindsay Lohan to me. It's one performance, but it's enough that I think she's talented. I think she could do Into the Wild caliber work again. That's it. I'm done. It doesn't change my answer. It just sort of clarifies. Because I agree with you. It came down to C and D for me as well. Go ahead.
I'm choosing Susan Sarandon, and it's a tough choice.
Sure.
But it's my choice.
Awesome.
And I actually agree with you. I think she's got probably more iconic roles than Helen Mirren. I almost feel like Helen Mirren in American roles, unless she keeps doing things like Red 2, Red 3, Red 4, and Arthur and things.
Right.
That, you know what? She might not have peaked yet in American film.
Sure. Well said. Well said.
Although Susan Sarandon did choose to be in that movie Snitch with The Rock, which I saw recently. So I could be wrong. But I'm choosing D. I am choosing the world where Susan Sarandon doesn't exist, but neither does Kristen Stewart.
But gosh, Phil, who else could have possibly played her part in Snitch with The Rock?
Helen Mirren would have been great.
Literally anyone. You could have played that part. Did
you see that movie?
Yes, I did.
It was a blast.
It was a blast. What was Barry Pepper doing in that movie?
What wasn't he doing in that movie is really the question.
No.
What does he not do?
No, I don't mean that.
You mean what does his character do?
Right, what is going on there?
You know what he does?
Now he's going to have a huge beard.
He just lends credibility. To what? I don't know what. Yeah. I don't know to what.
Because if there's something that lends credibility, it's from a supporting role turned in by the lead of Battlefield Earth.
That's not fair.
It's not fair. You're right. It's not fair. You know what's not fair? Hollywood. Can we be done with this question? This question.
Yeah, We got one more question for this part, and then we're gonna have to break this whole thing into 2 episodes because it's too
much.
Because Damon doesn't know what he's doing. Go ahead.
Number 7. You may reapportion the number of movies in each of the following series. The catch is, this is a complex thing because Damon is too smart for his own good. The catch is, it's zero sum. If you want another movie in one series, you have to take one away from one of the others. If you take one away, it can be any one of them. It doesn't have to be the most recent one. But you can't take away from and add to the same series, i.e., no cutting out Thunderdome and rolling the dice for a new Mad Max movie. First off, tough guy, we're getting a new Mad Max movie with Tom Hardy. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Mission Impossible, Mad Max, Star Wars, also getting a new Star Wars movie. That will make the 4th real Star Wars movie at best. Toy Story. Mission Impossible, Mad Max, Star Wars, Toy Story.
Couple questions.
Yes.
One. No, really only one question, because the other thing was just going to be me insulting Damon, and I need to step back, because I'm really...
Sure. Yes. Yep.
Okay. Do we? He's too something for his own good. That's for sure. Are we actually pretending that there are 6 Star Wars movies as we answer this question?
I think we have to. I think we have to.
Here's my math.
Okay.
Not touching Mission Impossible or Mad Max.
Sure.
Not because there weren't bad movies in them, just because I don't care.
Sure.
I really don't care.
Sure.
Like here's the deal. Mad Max and Roadrunner are both glorious
Road Warrior.
Sorry.
That got real weird.
Once per Gauntlet I do something like that. So
You're
really
right.
let's
You're right.
I have like a total like stroke brain and then everything falls apart. But I've been a little angry. Mad Max and Road Warrior are lovely, fantastic B movies. So the fact that, and I mean I love them and they are fantastic. So don't think that I'm not saying that they're great.
Yeah.
So the fact that Thunderdome like sucks on wheels doesn't really bother me.
Yeah.
Because when a B movie sucks based on the other 2 B movies that didn't suck, it doesn't bother me that much.
Totally.
Mission Impossible, I mean, if ever there was a series that wasn't bad that I also just didn't care about,
Sure.
it was Ghost Protocol was legitimately so much fun to watch.
So much fun to watch.
And if it never existed, I wouldn't care.
Not at all.
I'm not mad that I watched it. I was like, that might have been the best one. You want to watch it again? What? I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe whatever stuff and things.
I will say this. I have seen it on home video, and while it is still a blast to watch, the scene at the Burj Khalifa in IMAX, where he's on the outside of that
makes
building,
all the difference, doesn't it?
I mean, I know your feeling about 3D, and I don't necessarily disagree with you, but that scene in IMAX was worth the premium and then some. Oh my word.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm leaving those alone.
Okay.
I'm clearly getting rid of the Star Wars episodes 1, 2, and 3. Guess where they go? 3 more Toy Story movies. I think it's too many Toy Story movies, but you know what? Damon's a mathematician and clearly not a film watcher. He clearly has no artistic sense, but he believes in math. Here's an equation that makes no artistic sense, but mathematically is brilliant. Every Toy Story movie is better than the one that came before it. Therefore, mathematically, add 3 more Toy Story movies, and they would all just keep getting better. Now, in the real world, that wouldn't happen, but Damon doesn't care about the real world.
It's true. Real world, Second Breakfast Nation, Damon doesn't love you.
No. He doesn't care about art. So it doesn't matter that it's a complete and utter anomaly that Toy Story movies keep getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
So take those 3 monstrosities away from Star Wars, give them to Toy Story, and watch them spin that into gold.
It's true. That's true.
Toy Stories 4, 5, and 6. That's my final answer. Andy, you may go.
Bill, I don't need to go. You have said it you could have, you could be wearing my face Hannibal Lecter style, and like that's it. I would be giving the same answer. That's it. Please don't wear my face Hannibal Lecter style.
I won't, but only because you asked.
Thank you.
Only because you said please.
You asked nicely, therefore I will not do it.
I was on my way
This
over
evening.
to cut your face off and put it on mine, and then you said please, and I changed my mind.
I will hold off for the time being.
Okay.
Folks, we're gonna stop now, but yeah.
Tune in for the second part of the Gauntlet. You will be excited.
Yes, in a couple days. We're good, but you know, fatigue.
You're not going to have to wait a whole week.
Indeed, that's true. So for right now, for Second Breakfast, I am Andy Roth, and that is Phil Duvall, and we promise we'll see you again real soon. Bye.
The most important meal of the day, second breakfast.